Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Scott Harvey, and my pronouns are he, him, his. And I want to welcome you to First Unitarian Church on this beautiful Easter morning. Our mission is to explore the eternal, to nurture community, and pursue the common good. We gather to gain clarity about our beliefs and depth in our understanding. This is a place for families to spend time together and build multi-generational community. And I also want to thank our team of volunteers and staff who make Sunday mornings possible. I also want to welcome participants on YouTube, and make sure you use the chat on YouTube. You can, make little comments about us and all sorts of funny things if you want. But it actually is a meaningful worshipful experience to participate on YouTube, and I encourage it if you're ever not in the sanctuary. At First Unitarian, we share our pronouns and offer visual self-descriptions to welcome all into the full life of our church. In that same spirit of love and equity, we have large print orders of service and hymnals available at the back of the sanctuary. There are also a few over-the-ear hearing assistance devices if you need it. Our sanctuary is also equipped with a telecoil hearing loop system. And to utilize that system with your own hearing aid, contact your hearing and provider for details. That would be for next time. Don't call right now. But I do ask you to silence your mobile phones and other devices that might distract us over the next hour. And there's also information in the order of service about the events going on at the church, and there's also newsletters, and on the website there's a lot of information, so I encourage you to look all of that up, because staying informed about community life is a shared responsibility. And if you're not yet on our email list, please use the QR code in the order of service to sign up. If you're online, you can sign up under the Newcomers section of our website. And I think that we have an announcement about the auction. Is that right? Thank you, Joan.
Good morning. My name is Joan Kane, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm an older lady with tortoiseshell glasses and an orange top. And I'm also a member of the 1UC auction committee. Today I wanted to emphasize two things about the auction. One, it's a very important fundraiser for the church, the biggest of the year. And two, it's a lot of fun. And by that, I don't just mean the browsing and competitive bidding, but many items in the auction lead to new experiences and also offer further opportunities for fellowship and connection with this community. Our catalog includes vacation rentals, dinners, parties, workshops, gift cards, tickets for theater, sports events and museums, themed baskets, homemade food, and a variety of services offered by members of the congregation, from pet sitting to tree trimming. I want to give a big thank you to everyone who's donated so far. And yes, we still are collecting donations, so if you have an idea, we'd love to talk to you. You can find us at the auction table in Daniel Hall. The auction opens on April 19th and will be up online for 2 weeks. Keep your eye on the newsletter for details of how to register and start bidding. We always need lots of buyers. One last thing, this year again, as part of the auction, we are having a 50-50 raffle. Last year, we collected over $500, with half of those proceeds going to the church and the other half to the lucky winner. So find us at the auction table and buy some tickets today. Thank you.
I want to invite people who are participating online to light a candle or chalice at home as we light our chalice here. Amelia will be lighting our chalice today. We light our chalice in Midtown, Oklahoma City, on land that was home to First Americans, including the Apache, Caddo, and Wichita, on land that was taken from the Muskogee and Seminole and other removed and relocated peoples. And I'd like to share with you a short reading. Before we expect it, the earth begins again, green peeking through, flowers opening ahead of time, warmth returning to the air. Not everything waits its turn, and sometimes that is a gift. May we, like these early blooms, be ready to open, to welcome the light and to begin again. We light the chalice for renewal and for the quiet courage to grow when the warmth finds us. I'd like to invite you to join me in saying the covenant, which is found in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Easter is a holiday of miracles. It's life from death, joy from sorrow, celebration from mourning. Easter reminds us that all is never lost, that the story continues as long as we are here to tell it. So gather up your worries. We are going to bury them beneath the ground and watch them transform into flowers of hope, pushing through the earth, reminding us on Easter morning that love brings us back to life, calls us from sadness to grief, from anxiety into a world renewed and alive, and filled with joy once again. Happy Easter, everyone, and welcome to our time to be together in worship. Our opening hymn is number 76 in your gray hymnals, For the Flowers That Bloom About Our Feet. Kate is going to play that through once for us, and then we'll join in singing. But let's go ahead and rise in body or in spirit.
Good morning. My name is Tim Atkins. I serve as your Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration. For Easter Sunday, I'm wearing my Easter jacket, which is pink and blue, along with a pink shirt and rainbow glasses. So today, I'm going to tell you the story of the first flower communion. So today is one of those mornings when the world feels like it's stretching awake. It's Easter, the season when life insists on returning, even after the coldest winter. And it's also our flower communion, the Sunday when our sanctuary becomes a garden made from all of us. So I want to tell you a story about how this ritual began. Because like Easter, it's a story about courage, hope, in the quiet miracle of life returning. Once upon a time, though not very long ago, there was a minister named Norbert Čapek. He lived in Prague around 100 years ago, and he had a problem. It was a good problem, but still a problem. His congregation was full of people who believed different things. Some had grown up Christian, some had left Christianity. Some were Jewish, some weren't sure what they believed in at all. Some were spiritual in ways that didn't fit neatly into any box. And Norbert wondered, how do we create a ritual that welcomes everyone? Bread and wine wouldn't work. Creeds wouldn't work. Fancy theology definitely wouldn't work. And so he went outside and he looked around. And he noticed something simple and true. Flowers don't ask you what you believe before they bloom. They just show up. They just offer their beauty. They just say, here I am, I'm alive, and so are you. And Norbert thought, yes, that's it. So one Sunday, he asked everyone to bring a flower. Some people brought wildflowers they had found on their walk to church. Some brought roses from their gardens. Some brought tiny blossoms that looked like they were trying their best. And some brought big, showy flowers that looked like they were trying a bit too hard. All those flowers, different shapes, different colors, different stories, were placed together in one big vase. And at the end of the service, everyone came forward and took a different flower home. Not the one they had brought, but a new one, a gift from someone else in the community. And Norbert said, just as no two flowers are alike, no two people are alike. Yet each of us is beautiful, and together we create something more beautiful still. Now here's the part that feels especially right for Easter. A few years later, when the Nazis occupied Prague, Norbert's message that every person has worth and dignity was considered dangerous. He was arrested, and he was killed at Dachau. It was one of the darkest winters a human heart can imagine. But the ritual he created did not die. His wife, Maha, carried it with her when she escaped to the United States, and she brought it to Unitarian congregations here. And from there, it bloomed again, slowly, stubbornly, beautifully. Every time we celebrate a flower communion, we are participating in a kind of resurrection, not of a person, but of a hope that beauty returns, that community returns, that courage returns, that life returns, just like Easter. And so today, when you place your flower in the vase, remember that you are offering your unique beauty to this community. And when you take a different flower home, remember that someone else's gift is now in your hands. This is how we Unitarians practice resurrection, not with trumpets or angels, but with petals and stems, and the simple act of showing up for one another. Because every flower says life returns, hope returns. We return to each other, one blossom at a time. The end. Now I would like to invite any of our older high school youth who want to help with the Easter egg hunt. We're going to go off and help with the Easter egg hunt. And for our children who aren't quite of high school age yet, after the service, you'll head out those back doors of the sanctuary and head over to the playground to begin the Easter egg hunt. So we'll see you all after the worship service. Have fun, adults. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tim. And thank you, high school youth, for getting our Easter egg hunt set up. We will all enjoy, even if we're not hunting, watching the fun. I want to invite you all to enjoy me in a short time of prayer or meditation. Spirit of life, God of many names, mystery beyond naming. We gather in thanks for our many blessings. This beautiful spring morning, it's difficult to miss the abundance of life in our world. And we're grateful for the promise of new life and renewal. Also this morning, we lift up in our prayers those who might be struggling or grieving. Lana Henson comes to mind in grieving the loss of her beloved husband, Carl. Some of us know that silence can be deafening at home after such a loss. We also hold in our hearts friends recovering from surgery and some of our senior friends who are finding getting around much harder than it used to be. This week, dear God, we also wonder what the heck is going on in Washington, D.C., and with U.S. imperialism around the world. Please grant us the courage and the wisdom to be effective agents for peace in this upside-down world. In your many names we pray. Amen.
I have always had a long and complicated relationship with Easter. On Good Friday, 1964, when I was 5, I ran through a glass door and nearly died from a deep cut to my wrist. My mother and neighbor Celia saved me, and even now it's kind of hard to find a pulse there. That scar has stayed with me, an odd companion to the imagery of crucifixion I encountered growing up in the Episcopal Church. As a child, the emphasis on blood unsettled me, yet my own wound carried a quiet, almost mystical awareness. Over time, I found language for that experience in the reflections on suffering that refused to let brokenness have the last word. The question became not just why we suffer, but whether suffering can open a doorway rather than close one. Jesus himself was not the figure that held my attention as a child. It was the Holy Ghost, something spacious and mysterious and full of possibility. Later, I heard echoes of that same spaciousness in conversations with ministers who shaped my faith, ministers at this church, actually. John Ogden Fisher once offered, he was a minister here in the 1930s, and he came back in 1993 for our centennial, and he was in his 90s, I think, and preached a gangbuster sermon about how Jesus contracted a disease from the nails and the cross, and that it just made him look like he was dead, and actually he recovered. Okay, that was his theory, and I didn't agree, but I admired the effort to engage faith with reason. I think the church still owed him money, by the way, in 1993. Another minister, Dick Allen, called himself a liberal Christian heretic. And that opened up a huge door of possibilities for me. Many early Christian ideas were later labeled heresy: Arianism and adoptionism, Pelagianism, universalism, and various mystical traditions suggest a vision of Jesus that is not an exception, but an example of human potential for connection with the divine. And then Reverend Fern Stanley, who was here on a couple of different interim ministerial gigs for us, described herself as a mystic rationalist, a phrase I haven't forgotten because it's trying so hard to hold reason and wonder together. But it's not the magic that breaks the laws of nature, but the kind that arises when we encounter life deeply, in love, in music, in courage, and insight, and when we do that together. It is the magic of emergence. Carbon becomes life, life becomes awareness, awareness becomes compassion, And somewhere along that unfolding, the universe begins to know itself. And when we glimpse that, the ordinary world takes on a quiet radiance. That is the kind of magic I want to protect. A magic that deepens reason rather than contradicts it. A magic that reveals how astonishing reality already is. So I leave the door open to mystical cosmologies, the possibility that beneath ordinary life runs a deeper current of meaning and connection. And I return to a thought from Henry Nelson Wyman, that Easter is not only about something that happened long ago, but about the ongoing possibility that creativity and goodness can rise again wherever brokenness seems to have won. What rose from the dead was not the man Jesus, it was creative power. It was the living God, in his words, the living God that works in time. And I, for one, believe that's what happens in this church. And for that, I'm thankful. What some of us might call the Holy Spirit moves among us still. Generosity is a spiritual practice that we embrace every Sunday when we take an offering. All the cash and designated checks are distributed directly to an external nonprofit organization doing good work in the world. This month, our offering supports OKC Beautiful. Since the 1960s, Oklahoma City Beautiful has been the only nonprofit organization dedicated to beautifying Oklahoma City. Their mission is to lead Oklahoma City's beautification and environmental stewardship through collaboration, education, and advocacy. They are helping transform Oklahoma City into a vibrant community fertile for economic growth, where citizens practice environmentally sustainable lifestyles. As we enjoy the offertory music, our ushers will pass the offering plate in the sanctuary. Online, you can make a gift through the One UC website or send a check to First Unitarian. Just write "change for change" in the memo line. Would the ushers please come forward and receive the offering?
So I have a story to share with you this morning. I may have shared it with you all before, but it is just so fitting for our Easter flower communion that it seemed appropriate. It's called Sunflower House by Eve Bunting. Let's see. First, I pull out all the weeds. Then I sow my sunflower seeds. It says to set them in a line, but Dad says round and round is fine. I give them water every day and shoo the pesky birds away. Go eat berries on the tree. These sunflower seeds belong to me, I tell them. The package says they're guaranteed. A mammoth flower grows from each seed. My friend Bernice says, there's no way. You can't know everything, I say. Wait. The stems poke up, all ringed around, a pale green circle in the ground. They're growing tall. They're growing fast. And oh my gosh, sunflowers at last, all frilly yellow, big and bright. Mammoth is the word, all right. Their petals open wide and spread, a golden roof above my head. My friends come rushing down to see the sunflower house, hand-grown by me. There's lots of room inside for 3. Mom brings us cookies and iced tea, but Mom and Dad can't fit at all. They're much too big and wide and tall. All summer long, the house is ours. We play in it for hours and hours. It's a castle. It's a cage. We're jungle beasts that roar and rage. My friends sleep out with me one night, bundled up and snuggled tight. Moon shadows shiver on the ground. The sunflowers whisper all around. They whisper songs of heat and rain and things too secret to explain. I see the stars play peekaboo and wish that can't come true and wish a wish. One day the leaves are tinged with brown. A flower comes tumbling, rumbling down. The next day some more bend over and fall, and now it's not a house at all. We tie it up with strings and sticks, but it's impossible to fix. It's gone. There's nothing we can do, not even with Glues-All glue. Wait. There's still the puffy middle part that's filled with seeds enough to start another sunflower house next spring with walls and roof and everything. It's neat to think when something's gone, a part of it goes on and on. It's such a super duper plan. We pick out all the seeds that we can. Our pockets bulge and blue jays come, the sparrows, crows, they all take some. We still have lots and lots to share. Now be aware, prepare, take care. Next summer, they'll be everywhere. Here ends our story. I'm going to invite you all to a short moment of meditation, and I know that word meditation always sounds so serious. It doesn't have to be. It is as simple as breathing. So what we're going to do is just take a few short breaths together. If you're comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes. You don't have to, but it kind of helps. And relax and settle into your seat. And if you would, with me, take a big, deep breath in. And slowly let that go. And another deep breath in. And let that go. And one more deep breath in together. And let that go. Thank you, friends, for sharing in that short meditation with me. Namaste. They tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds. You may have heard people say that or seen it on t-shirts or protest signs. This picture here is of a mural in Detroit. It's painted by Brandon Odoms and Mike Williams. The boy in the picture is holding sunflowers, and it says, "They tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds." It's a hopeful message for people who have been shoved down so many times. Sometimes that's bullying. Sometimes it's bullying whole groups of people, or worse. Sometimes it's people's history and stories that get buried and hidden for a long, long time. I learned this week a little bit about where that saying comes from. The person who probably wrote it first was a Greek poet named Dinos Christianopoulos. He was not an ancient Greek like the name sort of sounds. He actually wrote those words in a poem in 1970. For some of you that is ancient, but for most of us it is not. He was talking about how the other poets and artists treated him and how he felt left out and pushed down. The saying has been used by other groups of people all around the world. One of those groups was Mexican Zapatistas. In the 1990s, they said, "They tried to bury us, they didn't know we were seeds," as a rallying cry against the Mexican government. To them, it meant that their struggle was natural and organic and resilient. How many of you have felt like you were pushed down into the dirt by someone else, rather literally or metaphorically? Yeah? How many of you have felt left behind every once in a while? Yeah? Most of us have had some experiences like that. We've all been put down by others. It's also true that some of our neighbors have had a much harder time than that. Right now, our immigrant neighbors, people who moved here from other countries, are being treated really, really badly. And here in Oklahoma, the state government, is trying to take rights away from our transgender friends. And did you know that at national parks, some that you may have probably been to, President Trump is removing plaques and statues and books that tell the truth about how Native Americans and black people were treated unfairly? He's trying to hide those stories, to bury those stories. Some people have been pushed down into the dirt in some scary ways that I don't even want to imagine. They tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds. It reminds me of all the ingredients involved in growing. Have any of you ever tried to sprout a seed? Maybe a lima bean? It takes some special conditions. for a seed to sprout. It takes warmth, usually from the sun. It takes moisture from the spring rains, and it takes good, soft dirt, or maybe you used a paper towel, but it's something that can't be too hard, sort of like a soft blanket. Just like a seed germinating, coming back to life is not something that anyone does on their own. Just like seeds, people need certain things to rise again. They need the warmth of community and family to show their love. People need compassion. When tears have been shed, they need other people to acknowledge those tears and respect them. And finally, they need fertile ground. People need communities like churches and schools and families and cities, all sorts of nurturing places where they can feel safe enough to sprout and reach up to the sky in new life. So this Easter, this flower communion, I want us to remember that there's hope for ourselves and hope for new life. But I also want us to imagine ourselves as gardeners. For our neighbors and friends who have been pushed down in the dirt, we can help tend the sprouting of new life. We can bring warmth. We can acknowledge and wipe away tears. We can build safe places for people to grow. As gardeners, let us do our part in the miracle of rebirth, even in the darkest of times. As Tim was telling us a little bit earlier about the history of flower communion that we celebrate today, it started in 1923 by Dr. Norbert Čapek in the Czech Republic. Tim also shared the sad story of how Nazis took Dr. Čapek to Dachau, where he was later killed. But his wife brought this ritual that we still practice today here to the United States. We practice this flower communion as Unitarian Universalists as our reminder that hope lives on even from that darkest moment of our history together. So it's time now for us to share in flower communion. I want to invite our children to come and help me up front. In a minute, you will have your chance to go collect eggs, but for now, I need you to help pass flowers out to our adults. So if you can come on up front, and as you make your way up here, kiddos, maybe with an adult helping you, I'm going to share the words that Dr. Čapek used to bless the flowers. He said, "Infinite Spirit of life, we ask your blessing on these messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us among our differences to be one in our caring and our work. May these flowers also remind us of the value of partnership, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of our most precious gifts, and may we remember that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do the holy work in the world." So during the next couple of hymns, our kids are going to pass out flowers to adults in the sanctuary. And adults, as you receive a flower, notice its particular shape and its beauty. Remember it and handle it with care. This is a gift from someone else that they brought to church with them this morning. This flower represents a unique person with beauty and imperfections that make it unique. So let us share now in the joy of a Unitarian Universalist ritual of oneness and love. For the hymns, this congregation is going to remain seated. Let us join in singing. This is number 1005 in your green hymnals, Praise in Springtime.
As we extinguish this flame, may we carry its smoke with us. Into the streets, into the places where holiness is hard to see, but always waiting to be noticed. Let us go with eyes open for wonder in the worn out, for reverence with each passerby, and with the knowing that the sacred does not hide from the world, it lives in it.
And for what we are all really here for today, the Easter egg hunt. Kiddos, please go to the playground first before you start collecting eggs so you can get some instruction from Tim. Playground first. We all know loss and pain. Let none of it divide us. In the rising sun today, let us do together what we cannot do alone. Roll away the stones that close our hearts. Friends, go in peace. Let the light within you be a blessing to the world.